In Canto 26, we will discuss the states of samadhi, the vision of universal consciousness, and witnessing the ocean, etc. Welcome, seekers of truth. I am Maharishi Vashishtha, and today we are embarking on an incredible journey through Canto 26 of the Nirvana Prakarana, a truly profound segment of the ancient Yoga Vasistha text. In this explainer, we're going to deeply explore my original Sanskrit verses, unravel their literal meanings, and illuminate the vast philosophical interpretations that lie just beneath the surface. Together, we'll uncover the secrets of the cosmos, the nature of the mind, and the ultimate reality of your very own existence.
Part 1. The Introvert Attitude. Preparing the Mind.
Let's start right at the absolute foundation of our spiritual ascent. I'm going to share the essence of verses 1 and 2 with you. Now, the original Sanskrit talks about a state where the mind is svastha, which means established in the self, and shanta, profoundly peaceful. These verses actually lay out exactly how to start unwinding all those tight, binding coils of our everyday anxieties. They guide us to turn our scattered attention away from the relentless demands of the outside world and gently draw our awareness right back into the silent sanctuary of the heart. This inward turning, we call it cultivating the introvert attitude.
Now, if you just look at the literal translation, it might sound like a simple instruction to physically withdraw, like abandoning your worldly life to go sit quietly in a forest somewhere. But the deeper philosophical meaning I want you to grasp is actually vastly different. Real relaxation doesn't come from just changing your physical scenery. It comes from an internal shift. It's about consciously releasing mental attachments, desires, and that constant, exhausting agitation of wanting things to be different than they are. True quietude happens when the internal grasping simply stops. So, this introvert attitude isn't about abandoning your duties or hiding from society. Instead, it's the absolutely essential prerequisite inward focus we need to calm the mind before we can ever hope to enter true meditation. Think of it like a turbulent lake. You literally can't see the bottom until the surface is completely still, right? You're simply learning to detach from the relentless noise of your senses, the sights, the sounds, the endless streams of thoughts, so you can finally, clearly observe the radiant truth of your own eternal self.
Part 2. The stages of samadhi. Continuous meditation. Okay, so having prepared the mind with that vital introvert attitude, we transition into the active practice. Verses 3 and 4 outline the precise progression from dhyana, which is continuous meditation, right into the absolute absorption of samadhi. Think of these verses as a flawless map. They describe how, once the mind is relaxed and turned inward, it has to be held in a state of unwavering, continuous focus upon the supreme reality, almost like a steady flame in a completely windless room. The literal English meaning here describes a disciplined, physical state of unbroken focus and concentration. But my philosophical interpretation takes us to the very core of human existence. It reveals how this continuous meditation actively works to dissolve the ahamkara. That's the illusion of the separate ego. When your focus is truly unbroken, the artificial boundary between the meditator, the act of meditation, and the object of meditation just collapses. And it's exactly this dissolution of the ego that leads you directly into the profound, transcendent stages of samadhi. Look at the immutable laws of spiritual science at play here. You literally cannot leap directly into samadhi while your mind is chaotic. It just doesn't work. First, you have to cultivate the introvert attitude to relax and pacify the mind. That clears the turbulent runway, paving the way for continuous meditation. Only through that unbroken focus does the supreme state of samadhi naturally blossom. A lot of seekers experience immense frustration because they try to meditate without calming their attachments first. You can't skip a step. They have to flow naturally, one right into the next, like a river finding its way to the sea.
Part 3. The Vision of Universal Consciousness.
Now that we've mastered the individual stages of samadhi, let's elevate our understanding to the grand, sweeping vision of the entire cosmos. I want to bring your attention to verse 38, which declares, Sarvam Kalvi Idam Brahma. All this is indeed the supreme reality. This verse is an absolute game changer. It holds the key to how we view the physical world around us, establishing the absolute omnipresence of pure, radiant consciousness in every conceivable direction. A literal reading simply states that consciousness is everywhere, kind of like space filling up a room. But the deeper philosophical truth I impart to you here is the ancient doctrine of panpsychism. This is the profound realization that every single atom of reality, the ancient rocks, the swirling wind, the distant stars, and the earth beneath your feet, is fundamentally constructed of pure consciousness. There is absolutely no such thing as dead or inert matter. No way. The universe is vividly alive, aware, and teeming with divine intelligence. So, what is pure consciousness? It's the ultimate, unchanging reality. It is the unblemished fundamental awareness that permeates, connects, and sustains absolutely all existence. Understanding this, it reshapes your entire reality. It proves that you are never, and could never be, separate from the universe. You aren't some stranger wandering through a cold, mechanical world. You are an intimate, breathing, essential expression of the universe itself, made of the exact same conscious light as the stars. To help you truly visualize and embody this deep connection, I want to share the sublime poetry of verse 39. This verse gives us one of the most striking and elegant images in the entire Yoga Vasistha, the metaphor of the Brahmara, the cosmic bumblebee, hovering over the magnificent Kamala, the lotus flower. Literally, of course, the verse describes a simple bumblebee hovering over a blossoming flower collecting pollen. But philosophically, this represents the enlightened soul. The soul hovers over the magnificent, incredibly complex lotus of cosmic creation. It fully engages with the overwhelming beauty, the sorrow, and the drama of the world, and yet it remains fundamentally untouched, untangled, and utterly undisturbed by the world's passing illusions. Hold this profound image in your mind's eye. Just as the bumblebee gently gathers nectar without crushing the fragile petals or becoming permanently bound to the flower, the enlightened mind engages with the cosmos. You can absolutely perform your duties, love your family, and participate in the grand play of life, all while remaining perfectly anchored in pure, undisturbed consciousness. You partake in the nectar of experience, yet you remain forever free. Part 4. Witnessing the Ocean of Brahma. We've now reached the absolute peak of our spiritual ascent. Let the immense vibration of verse 40 wash over you. Here, I describe the Brahma Sagar, the infinite ocean of pure consciousness. This verse captures the grandest, most overwhelming scale of reality, inviting you to stand at the edge of eternity and witness the boundless waters of the Absolute. The literal text speaks of immense ocean waves continuously rising, peaking, and falling back into the depths. But the spiritual meaning I reveal is that all individual forms, every single civilization, every planet, every object, and yes, even your own physical body, they're merely temporary waves. Entire lifetimes and eras rise and fall upon the eternal ocean of Brahma. They exist for just a brief moment in time, only to dissolve right back into the singular, infinite water from which they came. As the silent witness to this boundless ocean, you realize the supreme truth of your existence. The wave is never, not for a single fraction of a second, separate from the water. You are not some isolated, tiny wave terrified of crashing upon the shore. You are, and always have been, the entire eternal ocean, uniquely expressing itself in the glorious temporary form of a single drop. Now, this vast perspective brings us to the very origin of time itself. The text explicitly explains that time isn't a physical reality, it's merely an illusion. Time is born entirely from the mind's perceived separation from pure consciousness. The exact moment the ego feels separate from the ocean, it fears the future and regrets the past, and boom, it creates the illusion of linear time. But samadhi? Samadhi is the immediate return to the eternal present. It is the complete realization of the timeless reality, where past and future completely dissolve into the infinite now. The ultimate goal of these teachings isn't to wither away in a secluded cave, forcefully suppressing your senses forever. No, the supreme achievement is sahaja samadhi. This is the natural, effortless state of enlightenment. In sahaja samadhi, you remain completely, effortlessly aware of this vast ocean of consciousness, while seamlessly living your daily life, raising your children, and performing your worldly duties. You are the wave, fully awake to the fact that you are the ocean, joyfully participating in the divine dance of existence. So let's summarize our sacred journey through Canto 26. We've logically connected all the rungs of the spiritual ladder. By first pacifying the mind through the introvert attitude, we clear the path for continuous meditation and samadhi. From that stillness, we awaken to the truth of panpsychism, that absolutely all is pure consciousness. We learn to live as the untouched cosmic bumblebee, and we recognize our true identity not as fleeting forms, but as eternal waves upon the Brahma ocean. Ultimately, we find our effortless, eternal resting place in the awakened state of Sahaja Samadhi.
I leave you with this final, profound inquiry to meditate upon as you walk your path. If you are merely a temporary wave, briefly rising and inevitably falling back into the eternal ocean of Brahma, who is the one witnessing the water?